okay, I'm gonna try to make this work. Still don't know where I'm gonna sleep tonight, but whatever, it's gonna figure itself out. It's very far outside of my comfort zone. This experience is gonna be about feeling those feelings without letting it hold me back from new experiences. Okay, I'm feeling called to do a last minute adventure, and I think it might actually be possible. So my friend told me about this contact dance festival. I don't remember what it's actually called, but I'll put a picture of it here. I think I want to try to go. So that would entail me finding a ride into Toronto. So far, I've only been able to find one to get a portion of the way closer, and then I would take public transport from there. And that's only on the way to. So I would have to sniff out another ride back and also somewhere to crash for the night. Apparently, that's a thing that people are like totally able to accommodate. They have these billeters who open up their homes to let people crash for the weekend. And I've been assured that if I can figure out a ride to and fro, then I will be able to find somewhere to crash for the night. It sounds like quite the adventure, and I'm definitely down for it. So you're gonna come along with me and see how it goes. It is our first night in the yurt. I am so excited. I packed up some stuff for tomorrow's adventure. It's gonna be raining. I was originally just gonna bring the one outfit that I was planning on dancing with, which is like flowy kind of yoga pants. They're flared at the bottom, and because it's gonna be raining, I do want just like a non-flared pant. So I'm bringing two outfits, one for transport and another for dancing. And then of course it's gonna be cold, so I have my puffer and I have my rain jacket and I have my fleece. And then I'll bring my toiletries, my wallet, cash and stuff in my little purse, just in case I have somewhere safe to leave my bag and I want to go walk around. I don't want to leave like my wallet unattended, so I will be bringing that. I have my journals, and I'll bring some snacks, some things to bring as gifts along the way. I think that's pretty much it. So that's what I'm bringing on my little adventure. See you in the morning. My goal for this trip was to pack enough food that I wouldn't have to buy any food while I was gone. And safe to say, I packed more than enough. I had veggie sticks, bean salad, oatmeal, enough to last me 2 days, chicharrones, crackers, a little peanut butter and jelly dipper stick, applesauce, and trail mix. And I ate about a third of it. Before we go, I did want to say a few more words about what this experience is, why I'm going. A few weeks ago, they had an ecstatic dance here to celebrate the coming of spring, and it was actually my first ecstatic dance. I have heard about them, I've been really interested in going, but it just hasn't been the right time before, and it felt like this was the perfect one to start, and it was exactly what I was expecting, but even cooler. So if you don't know, ecstatic dance is essentially this space where people come together to celebrate music and dance and movement in a very individual way. This one was orchestrated so that everybody lays on the ground and it plays this like ambient, like kind of like the one note kind of 432 hertz whatever music, and then it picks up melody, and then you kind of make your way to your feet, and then it's like 2 hours of different like electronic music that people are dancing to. And it was an amazing thing to see because everybody had this force field around them where they were just dancing with themselves. It wasn't this crowded, hectic, like flirtatious space necessarily. It was much more of a like sacred, exploratory zone. So it was really, really cool. I love dancing, and that was my perfect environment because nobody was in my space, and I felt like I had really good boundaries the whole time. And I also made some really cool connections and got to meet really, really interesting people, and it was just a really magical weekend. It was a whole weekend event. We had women's circles and cacao ceremonies and sauna. Like, it was just so special. and that's where I met this friend who just recommended this to me. So a bunch of these people are all involved in like the ecstatic dance or contact dance or other forms of dance scene in Toronto, and this is their annual big event. It's apparently really well attended, very magical, and one of the women here was describing her experiences with it being very healing. It was really exciting to hear about, and I'm really here just looking for opportunities to grow and experience new things. So it was like, okay, I'm gonna try to make this work. Still don't know where I'm gonna sleep tonight, but whatever, it's gonna figure itself out. I'm really excited. I'm only gonna be going for a portion of the day today. I have kind of looked at the schedule and what workshops are gonna be going on, and it looks like it's gonna be a really interesting event. I'm anticipating it being a little bit intimidating, and it's very far outside of my comfort zone. I am already anticipating feeling like I don't belong here, I am not coordinated enough for this. I already feel like there's a lot of blocks inside me when I think about touching a stranger or moving with a stranger, dancing with a stranger. Anytime I've kind of been that intimate and touching with somebody else, I get, kind of like claustrophobic or nervous or insecure. And so I'm already anticipating that being one of the first things that I feel. This experience is going to be about owning those feelings, feeling those feelings, exploring them and honoring them without letting it hold me back from new experiences. It's a really vital skill, I think, in life, and it's not really one that we are called to practice very often or given a space to practice. And I think that is what this festival is. It's a safe space for people to be exploratory and free and safe to do that in communion with other people who are doing the same thing. So I'm really excited about the opportunity to explore with other people and just have a new experience. So I can't wait to bring you along and tell you all about it. It's about that time. I'm getting ready to leave. I'm excited. It's super rainy today, so I have an umbrella and my raincoat and my good boots on. So hopefully we stay warm and dry. I have no idea what to expect as far as the dance thing goes, but we'll see what we get into when we get there. Right from the start of this trip, the universe was on my side. The ride I caught was with a friend from the land who passed through a train station on his way to where he was going, and it said online that the train didn't come until 5:30, and it was 2:30 when he dropped me off. But seconds after we arrived, a train came, and I asked someone and they were like, yeah, this is going to Toronto. So I hopped right on, and in no time I was in Toronto. It was so fun to just walk around and see the city for the first time and take in all of its wonders. Here is some of the beautiful things I stumbled upon on my journey. It's crazy how one neighborhood can look so different from another. And I think you can tell a lot about a culture from its street art. Before long, I was in the dance studio, and I decided for continuity purposes, I would say a little something about it now. So here's that. Enjoy. When I walked in, I was like, all right, I'm just gonna jump right in. So I put on my dancing pants and I walked into the room, and there were all of these people who were already kind of doing this free-form, intuitive, some of them in partners, some of them by themselves dance, and there was an instructor. He would shoot out a little prompt. Maybe you are really close to each other, maybe you're really far away from each other, maybe you play with really fast movements, really slow movements, switch partners, that kind of thing. So I just jumped right in, and there's this really sweet lady. I was like, it's my first time, and she was like, it's okay. I'm so happy that you're here, like, welcome. We started with just mirroring each other. And then over time, we just kind of evolved and became more comfortable with different movements. And then it was time to switch partners. After a few people, it was like, it doesn't matter that I'm new at all. Each dance is its own completely unique improv thing. So being a beginner doesn't really make that big of a difference. And one person actually even came up to me afterwards and he was like, I really loved dancing with you. It felt like you were so comfortable. And I was like, what are you talking? It's literally my first time doing this. And he was like, I've been doing this for 12 years and I couldn't tell. that was the compliment of the century, guys. We just became more and more comfortable with just moving and sharing weight with people and doing all these different kind of exploratory, playful movements together. And then it became kind of more of a solitary thing where you're focusing on expressing your story, whatever story is coming through dance. So we're doing it with ourselves and just moving intuitively, freeform dance. Oh, and another thing, this is all silent. So there's no music playing, but I literally did not notice until the very end, because you can just kind of tune into movement and your own body in the way that you normally would the sound. And then you tune into other people. So after we kind of tell our own stories, we move into telling our stories and dancing with other people. So you want to do the contact dance, but also honor your own story and continue to hold your story while you do these movements with other people. And that's really when we got into a really good flow and we got to kind of switch partners intuitively. I danced with probably 8 to 10 people. I don't know their names. I don't know anything about them. And we got to do these beautiful improvisational dances together where you're playing with really intense emotion and really beautiful movement and just tuning into a part of myself I didn't even know I could express. Another surprising thing was how quickly our individual stories became a collective story. The lines between us as people really faded. Like when you're first kind of making a connection with someone, it usually starts with eye contact. And so you have to kind of gauge consent and interest. And then you kind of invite touch. And then you kind of flow with it from there. So that's kind of how the dance begins. And I guess in those few seconds, your brain is doing the thing of judging them. And I'm not saying judging as far as assigning value. It's more of like, I'm going to be able to play off their weight and height in this different way based on what it is, whatever. So your brain is kind of doing that. And then pretty much within seconds, all of that completely fades away. And all of that completely fades away as far as what I'm thinking about myself as well. I'm not thinking about like, do they think I'm too heavy? Am I being graceful? Can they tell I'm a beginner? You find this flow of improvisation and you realize that every single dance is entirely unique and whatever's happening right now is just what's happening right now. So to have that presence and shared experience of kind of selflessness was so incredible, because I've studied philosophy and I've thought a lot about this conception of selflessness. Not in terms of being self-sacrificing or putting others before yourself. It's literally like there's no distinction. I love that theory, and I wish that our society was more conscientious of that ideal. I believe it would be better for human beings and the environment and, mental health and all kinds of different things like that. But to have a tangible experience of it, I've had it a few times before, but this was a really, really unique flow state. It was a very embodied wholeness, and I've never experienced anything like it. I actually experienced profound feelings of connection with these people who I literally did not ever exchange any information with. That is a lesson in attachment and detachment. Like the feelings that we have for each other in that moment, stay in that moment. You have to let go of any expectation or any kind of fantasy that you come up with in terms of who that person is, because what it is a profound moment of connection in that moment, and that's what it is. And it can be beautiful and it can be that, and that's enough. I was also amazed at the amount I was able to learn about myself through this experience without ever talking to anybody about it. It's incredible the amount that you can get from just being playful and having a festival that's intentionally designed as a safe space for people to go through this. It was very clear that the festival organizers had done a really good job and been very intentional with creating a space that was safe and inclusive. Okay, I think I've told you enough about it. Let's go back to the video. Wow, I'm leaving the event right now. It is pouring rain. It's about 8 p.m. I am walking to the couple's house who were kind enough to offer their spare bedroom to me. On the way to this couple's house, I just remember feeling so overwhelmed with joy. Look at how wonderful this night was. It's so beautiful. It was such a vibe, like a rainy city night. How amazing. I was loving just reflecting on my experience and integrating the insights and just really taking it all in. It was such a magical experience, and I was just reveling in the night. So here's some of what I saw. So I made it to my sleeping destination. It's really comfortable and I'm really excited. We had a really lovely evening together. In the morning I'm going to explore Toronto a little bit, and then we head back in the afternoon. And when we get back, I will tell you all about my experience. I cannot wait. I have so much to talk about. I know it's more fun to watch somebody and feel like you're really there, and I would have loved to be able to share that. But this is a space that's very intimate, and filming just kind of ruins the vibe and ruins people's ability to really be in the moment and express themselves. I was actually talking to one person because there was another woman who was filming in the room that we were dancing in, and he was like, it completely took me out of it. It made me super uncomfortable. So I was like, I definitely made the right call, just keeping the filming out of it. So yeah, I appreciate the patience with that and hope that I can substitute with my storytelling. We'll talk in the morning. Good night. Alright, I'm just leaving my little house for the night. I am going to walk around Toronto. I look positively insane with all my pockets and everything, but whatever. It's my first time hitching a ride, hitching an accommodation for the night, and it went swimmingly, so I'm really stoked. I'm editing and I realized I never told you guys how I found my accommodation. At the dance event, after we finished dancing, I went up to one of the organizers who coordinates housing, and I asked her, and she was like, I actually don't know of anything, but two people that were in earshot were like, we have a spare bedroom. So that's the story. Back to the video. I just can't wait to tell you all about it. I finally found a street that's relatively quiet so I can tell you about my experience, but I had the most wonderful night. These kind people opened up their home to me. It was the first time I've ever found an accommodation that way. They wouldn't accept anything in return except for I had specifically brought a jar of pickled green beans from the land as a gift in exchange to whoever offered accommodation for me, and they were happy to accept that, so that was nice. We had such a wonderful evening of conversation and guitar playing, and they gave me a really comfortable bed to sleep on. I slept like a freaking baby, and in the morning they made me breakfast. They made a really delicious omelet, and they went to their favorite little bakery and brought 6 pastries back, including a carrot cake, cinnamon roll, monkey bread with espresso, and a rhubarb Danish. And what we didn't finish, they sent me on the road with. They said they go to that bakery every single Sunday, and it's also Easter Sunday, so it was a really wonderful way to spend Easter. I felt so welcomed by them. They gave me some really good recommendations for things to do today in the city. What a wonderful and rare thing to find. This was my first experience with these people. It really restores your faith in humanity, knowing that you can be welcomed in by complete strangers. So far, Toronto has been a really amazing experience and a really unique city, and I'm feeling really good. So I'm excited to take them up on their recommendations today and just walk around for the next few hours and take you along with me. Let's go. around for about 2 hours, just kind of exploring the city. I didn't end up making it all the way to the side that I wanted to, kind of by the distillery, the historical distillery district or whatever, if you're familiar with the Toronto area. But my ride is on her way, so we have to make our way to the meeting point and then head on home. My experience with Toronto has been absolutely wonderful. I'm sure that the people I'm with have a lot to do with that. I was like introduced to the city through the hippie networks, and that I think makes a really big difference for me. I'm really not a huge city person. That's largely because I'm not moved by the culture that cities offer, which is like very industrial and focused on money and expansion and stuff. But because I was kind of attuned to the hippie underground world here, I think that changed my perspective of the culture here, and I was able to actually get kind of more of a personal kind of community look at it, which was really special, and I'm really glad. Aside from that, Toronto itself has really beautiful art and diverse architecture and diverse communities, really good looking food. It has a lot to offer. I think it's a really beautiful city. It's probably one of the favorites that I've ever been to. So overall, great experience in Toronto. The guy who I stayed with last night said, "My God, this is really loud." That's not what he said. I stayed with last night said that this city is a multicultural experiment done well. And I think that certain cities definitely do it better than others, but I felt good vibes from it here, so I agree with him. I think Toronto's doing all right. Hello! On the ride home, it was really fun to reflect with my friend who was also at the event about our experiences, and we both came away having learned so much and had such a good time. So I'm really lucky that it worked out, that I was able to go and we were able to experience this together. Home sweet home! Okay, we made it home safe and sound. I'm getting cozy by the fire in the tent. It is so lovely to be back. It was such an amazing experience, and I'm really, really glad that I went and it all worked out. I feel like it was incredibly healing for me, not just in terms of the dance, but actually in terms of kind of how that connected to my relationship with cities. I have always said I'm not a city girl. I'm really not a huge city person, and I think it's important that I make a distinction of what I mean about cities. I'm talking mostly about like the North American kind of concrete jungle cities. Those have always, I found them very depressing, and it kind of feels like we're bowing down to like the money capitalism gods in terms of how we express art. Like there's no taste. They're not designed with any kind of whimsy, but you can see it. It's there, and I think street art will show you that, and little underground hippie communities like the one that I was a part of this weekend will show you that. So that was a really cool experience, but I'm really glad to be back in my little country tent now. This is definitely where my heart feels happiest. Thank you so much for watching this video. I love you guys so much. Make sure to like, subscribe, turn on your notifications, and comment down below the most spontaneous adventure you've taken, or just let me know whether or not you would have chosen to go on the one that I just did. I'm curious to see what you guys think. Make sure to take care of yourself until I see you again. See you in the next video. Bye!